HB! I hope all is well with you today. I'm sorry I'm shouting. I'm a little bit worked up. But I'll explain why in a little bit. Today, in this vid, I'm going to do another one of those little recap, mid-season recap videos that I do. This time it's going to be about the second season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is predominantly better than the first season. So if you were one of those few faithful who stuck around and was like, you know what, I don't like this show, but I want it to get better, and you were so happy that it did, I count myself among you. Well done, well done. Full spoilers for season 1 and season 2. You know the crack. If you're not caught up on this video, or on this series, then I got nothing. Don't watch this. Or watch that, then come back and watch this. See? There you go. Synergy. So, yeah. Following the events of Captain America the Winter Soldier and the revelation that Hydra was in S.H.I.E.L.D. all along, the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Coulson's team, are on the run. They are working from the shadows now with Patton Oswalt's little clone brothers, who possibly life model decoys. Never been confirmed, but yeah, following on from that, they have Agent Grant Ward. They kept him alive at the end of season 1, and he's like a really cool sort of Hannibal Lecter prisoner type. Grows a grizzly beard in a big screen. Like I said, they're fighting the good fight from behind the shadows now. It makes the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the whole premise of the show a lot cooler, because now they're underground. They're the resistance. They're Hydra are out in the open, but they're still sort of hiding in plain sight for all intents and purposes. And to Johnny on the street, there's no difference between Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. These are two criminal organizations masquerading as government, and they're just sort of at war with one another, which causes big problems. Let me see. What are the overarching themes of this? Are their war with Hydra, based circling around what they call the obelisk, or the diviner, this strange alien object that is in Hydra's possession. Anyone who touches it, well, most people who touch it sort of get turned to stone. Like Lucy Lawless in the very first episode. Lucy Lawless was in the first episode and they killed her. They just killed her. They killed Xena. 40 minutes in and Xena's dead. Oh, I should also mention they're being a lot more comics friendly. Not that they were before, but you know, if they're not going to have the Avengers showing up every now and then, they're going to have other guys. So like last season, we had Deathlock showing up, and that was pretty cool. This time, first episode, we get the Absorbing Man, Crusher Creel, the Absorbing Man, who, long-time Avengers and Hulk villain, he absorbs everything he touches, just like this guy. He's a Hydra asset, really strong, really powerful, and yeah, there is even one moment when he's having a fight with Melinda May, where he picks up a ball and chain just like he's got in the comics because he's an escaped convict, and it's like just nice wee tidbits like that, you know, stuff like that. They gave a shout out to Micro, who's an associate of the Punishers, which is pretty cool, you know. I'm always a big fan of that. More than actually having the characters in the show, little shout outs, it's just sort of alluding to these guys. That's always a big thrill to me. Like in Arrow, whenever they first started mentioning Ra's al Ghul, I thought that was supremely cool. You know, and then once you've got him there, the element of surprise is gone, but it's just, your imagination just runs amok in that. Anyway, I'm back on track here. Yes, it's a war for the obelisk, which Hydra has plans for. They're not sure what plans, but they want to use it as a weapon. The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. themselves are, like I said, they're on the underground. Coulson is plagued by not visions, not dreams, but just the need to write these symbols and write these patterns on everything as much as he can, whenever he can, repeatedly. And has been ever since, you know, it was revealed in season 1 why he is alive. I won't go into that now. But as a side effect of that, he needs to do that as much as he can. Like I say, Agent Grant Ward, who was revealed to be Hydra, is kept as a prisoner for the majority of that season, and he's used as like Basil exposition every now and then to try and give us an idea as to what Hydra's up to. Skye is become a field agent, and under Melinda May, who's her commanding officer, she's become a bit more badass, a bit more hands-on. Her hair is longer and that, and who her father is revealed after a while. We get to see it. He's played by Kyle MacLachlan of Twin Peaks and so many other pieces of work. He was in How I Met Your Mother and some other stuff. So he's there. He turns out to be Dr. Calvin Zabo, aka Mr. Hyde from the comics. Who's imagine a Hulk dressed in Victorian gentleman's wear, and that's how he's portrayed. He's not portrayed like that in the show. He's just the whole Jekyll and Hyde thing is there. He's got quite a temper that just every now and then comes to boil. But he's played really well, kind of this bubbling psychopath who's, it all comes from tragedy, as you'll see. And yes, that's it. He has his reasons for working against S.H.I.E.L.D. and working for Hydra. Fitz and Simmons. Following the events of the finale of Season 1, Fitz has, due to oxygen deprivation, he's lost a good deal of his grey matter. He's not the best. He's not as. It's some of the best acting you'll see, both on TV and in this show, by Ian DeCastiger. If you haven't seen The Fades, check out The Fades. He was the star in that pre-Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But this is he kills it as somebody who's he's just like what I'm doing basically, just trying to fill in the blanks in his own sentences. He's a really smart guy. He was so technically minded and so brilliant in the first season, and now he's just so frustrated and embarrassed by himself. And he's got a little imaginary friend, a little imaginary Simmons, who just sort of hovers around him. The real Simmons was working undercover for Hydra. I've got so much shit on my bed here. Where the hell is this dirt coming from? Whatever. Anyway, the real Simmons was working undercover for Hydra. Not for Hydra. At Hydra. At Hydra HQ. Hydra development. In an office run by Hydra. Her cover was blown, and then Mockingbird, played by Adrian Palicki, Sam Winchester's girlfriend from the first episode of Supernatural, on the ceiling and that. Yeah. She busts her out, and this woman is huge. Like every time I see her on screen, she's a giant. She's 6 foot odd. She towers everybody else. So I could see her. She was almost Wonder Woman. I can see her as a superhero. Mockingbird, yeah, so she's undercover. She's the first superhero that they've really had on the show, like pure out and out superhero. In the comics, she uses a bow staff. In the show, she uses like two little batons, kind of like Daredevil. And it's pretty cool. You just see her ending shit. She's got this ex-husband, a guy called Hunter, who was with Xena's team and ends up sort of joining S.H.I.E.L.D. just because. Another new recruit is this another massive guy who looks like a friggin' Chippendale, who's apparently the mechanic and the technical guy. Mac. Massive guy, helps Fitz. Best friends, sort of helps him along. It's a really sweet relationship. So yeah, the two sort of overarching plots are, what is the obelisk and Skye's father and their relationship. The obelisk ties into Coulson's scribbling on the walls. It's all to do with a hidden city that isn't Adelan, but is like Adelan. It's very, if you know the Inhumans, well, it's all sort of to do with that. It's kind of setting up that, the Inhumans. As it turns out, with this race against time. I also forgot to mention the bad guy of this season is a disciple of the Red Skulls who was imprisoned and found a way to reverse his own aging after 40 years of imprisonment via the blood of another Inhuman, aka Skye's mother. So there's that. It all comes to a head when they go to somewhere in the South Pacific, Barbados or something. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention at that point. I don't research these videos very well. But they go down to the South Seas and they find this little hidden monastery. They find a trapdoor. They go underground because that's where the obelisk needs to go. It gets placed into this and it releases the Terrigen Mists, which, as we know, turn people into the Inhumans. Both Skye and Reyna, kind of the Catwoman of this series, walks a moral compass, has her own agenda. Sometimes it's with Hydra, sometimes it's with S.H.I.E.L.D., sometimes it's versus each other. Both she and Reyna step into this con along with Agent Triplet, who gets turned to stone. He's not worthy. It sucks to be him. He's dead. However, at the very last minute, Skye, who we find out by the season finale, or mid-season finale, from her father, is actually, her real name is Daisy. And then as we find out, once she gains her powers, which are earthquake powers, her name is actually Quick. She's Daisy Johnson of the Secret Warriors, one of Nick Fury's top-notch agents. Her codename is Quick. She has the power to create tectonic plates shifting and earthquakes and stuff. One time in the comics, she caused an earthquake in Wolverine's heart, causing his chest to explode, thus defeating Wolverine. So, not bad for a new girl, you know? So there's that. So she turns out to be Daisy Johnson, which is really cool. So that'll be cool. I'd like to see where that goes going forward. We don't know very much about the second half of the season of S.H.I.E.L.D. At the very last second, we saw a guy with no eyes, who I can't remember the name of. He's a guy in the Inhumans who sees without the use of his eyes. He can tell you everything. He sees in your soul, sees the future and stuff like that. I think that's that guy. He's in. The only reason I know him is from a series called Silent War, which is a really great Inhuman story that you should check out. If you're Marvel have announced that they're doing the Inhumans in a couple of years' time. If you want to bone up, Silent War is a good one. Also, Paul Jenkins' own Inhuman story is very good. You'll see why Black Bolt is one of the coolest characters out there. What we do know is that in the second season, you're getting Edward James Olmos in there. Okay, so that's Captain Adama himself, Admiral Adama. Captain Adama is nothing. That isn't even a thing. Admiral Adama himself is coming in. I'm calling it now a veteran agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Hydra, an old-time agent, possibly a bad guy. Who knows? He has left some tidbits and left some clues. He says when he smiles, the world smiles with him, and a lot of people are like, Purple Man? Maybe? Perchance? So, it could be that. I'd like to think, because there's a Jessica Jones TV show in the works, they're going to have a younger Purple Man because of their relationship. But, hey man, it's exciting. And just to see him on TV, that guy is phenomenal. Like, if you haven't watched Battlestar, and I say this as someone who's only recently started to watch Battlestar, he steals it. So get into that. That's basically where we are. That was the first half of the infinitely better season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes, stick with it. It's sort of becoming its own thing. It may or may not tie in with the Agents of Ultron. It would be pretty cool to see that happening. There is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comic book, which is just the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from the show appearing in the Marvel Universe with Coulson, but not Agent Grant Ward, who is who's not present, which is curious. Which makes me wonder: is he already a comic book character? Is he going to be somebody? I've saw on a website that he might be Taskmaster, which would be pretty cool. So things like that, yeah. But there's a little comic book, you can hunt it out now. It's on the shelves, like S.H.I.E.L.D. #1, S.H.I.E.L.D. #2. I wouldn't bother with it, to be honest. It's not as good as you're going to expect it to be. But the TV show is stellar. For those, like I said at the start, for those who stuck through season 1 and said, I had high hopes for this show and I've been disappointed, but I'm going to stick it through to the end just in case. Well done. You've been rewarded. It's a great show. It's one of the best shows on there. It's highly entertaining, really well written. They've clearly got a plan. And I'm on board. I can't wait for it to come back. And so this is my second last recap video. If you liked it, the next one's going to be about The Walking Dead. If you liked this, please click like, share, subscribe, usual, all the jazz. I've been Ryan. If I'm a little bit peppy today, it's just because before I started recording this video, I got offered a new job. So I'm a little bit chuffed about that. And all the best. Be good to yourself, YouTube. Have yourself a great ass day.